Let's move on to our big story. Over the weekend, America surpassed 40,000 confirmed coronavirus deaths, 750,000 confirmed infections. And because of that, most of us have accepted that, as painful as it is, we need to stay at home a little longer until we can get those numbers under control. But it turns out there's a different group of people around the country who are saying, nah, how can we get those numbers to go up?
LAPD officers on high alert patrolling the streets of downtown LA after an explosive confrontation with Black Lives Matter protesters on the 101 freeway.
No one would be prosecuted for violating public health orders.
Though urged to maintain social distance, the crowd funneled together down city streets, shrugging off fears of COVID-19.
In Manchester, around 15,000 protesters gathered around Piccadilly Gardens.
They are doing so defying warnings about the coronavirus, defying lockdown rules.
It may have been a peaceful protest, but the ending was not.
And after those protests got violent, the Black Lives Matter Utah chapter says they had nothing to do with the violence.
Organised under the rallying cry of Black Lives Matter.
And let's be honest, people, this is both insane and counterproductive. Because the more you gather in groups, the longer the lockdown will have to go on. How do these people not seem to get it?
We also want to talk about what's happening in Toronto today, because people did take to the streets. The Interior Premier, Doug Ford, is not impressed with the protest.
You see these people that are absolutely irresponsible. It's reckless to do what they're doing. And personally, I think it's selfish. We have healthcare workers down the street at these hospitals working around the clock to protect the community. 99.9% of the people in this province are working together, side by side. That's the reason we were able to see a flattening of the curve. But then we have, a bunch of yahoos out in the front of Queen's Park protesting as they're breaking the law and putting everyone in jeopardy, putting themselves in jeopardy, putting the workers in jeopardy, and God forbid one of them end up in the hospital down the street. We're better than this. We're better than this as a people.
The Interior Premier, Doug Ford.
Michigan has the fourth highest number of coronavirus deaths in the country. And not only are you trying to keep everyone safe, but you're also dealing with armed protesters. Are they hindering the state's ability to contain the virus in any way?
They do undermine the effort, and it's very clearly a political statement that is playing out where people are coming together from across the state. They are congregating, they are not wearing masks, they are not staying 6 feet apart, and then they go back home into communities, and the risk of perpetuating the spread of COVID-19 is real. We've seen it happen, and that's why, while I respect people's right to dissent, this is calls to violence, this is racist, this is not appropriate in a global pandemic.
This is not us. Black Lives Matter, folks. This is not us. So there you have it. Thank you, Governor Whitmer. Keep us posted.
Jeff Zeleny was there, our reporter covering the protests. He said he saw a lot of people not social distancing. He said dozens upon dozens as he was there. Do you think that the protest put people at risk today?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can give you one clear example of how that is. It was a car protest, and they were backed up to in front of a hospital. There was an ambulance that could not get into the bay for 10 minutes. They absolutely impacted people's lives today and threatened people's lives.
33 states.
This is just grossly irresponsible, and it is dangerously bombastic because it inspires people to do dangerous things.
This is nuts. If you're not able to handle them, you're going to see another peak, a spike. Hopefully we'll put an end to this.
You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards.
And good evening once again. This is the 9th straight day of protests ignited by the death of George Floyd at the hands of police. Many marchers and rallies going on in defiance of curfews in many cities right now. Protests designed to cause traffic jams, and they succeeded. Those stuck in traffic included hospital workers trying to get to work in a hard-hit state in the middle of a pandemic, and for one of them, it just proved too much.
People, I have something to say. I work for Sparrow Hospital. How can I do my job if y'all idiots are blocking up the ways to get to the hospital? There are people dying every minute. And you guys want to block up everything and don't care about nobody else. What if it was your mother? What if it was your father? What if your infant son or daughter gets sick because you decide to go around and open up the windows so your kids and your family members can hang their heads out the window to support something that you have no business to do? This is ridiculous. It is unfair for the people that have to go to work every single day, especially in the hospital, to do their job. If y'all don't take y'all asses home, this is what I'm mad about. All y'all want to sit down there and pump your horn, hang out the window, because y'all don't like what somebody told y'all to do? Y'all some idiots. Total idiots. I can't do my job. I can't help anybody because y'all decide to block up every entrance way to get to the hospital.
Can you flip this over?